Hi, Bill Henshaw here again for the Constitutional Crisis channel. A little offbeat video here from what you've seen, and hopefully you've seen some of my videos up to this point. But I had an experience yesterday that I simply have to get on video now while it's fresh. It may not go right up online immediately, but that said, I had something happen to me that I've never had happen, and you probably never have either. And that is, had a 2.5, almost 3 hour session yesterday with two agents from the Territorial Attorney General's office from San Francisco, and they came to me. When's the last time a public servant came to you, particularly from the DMV or whatever? That doesn't happen. Well, I had planned for this. We had agreed to this session, and we sat down and talked and exchanged some views, and it turns out that they were sent at the behest of a request from the South Carolina Attorney General because of efforts I have made in the case of Dylann Roof back there, including filing a writ of habeas corpus to seek his relief. Should note at the outset here that I don't know about the facts of the case. I don't know what happened or did not happen. I couldn't care less. If, however, Roof did in fact do the crimes that he's alleged to have committed, it would be a great misfortune if he isn't punished for it. The problem we have is, if South Carolina is a territory, as I can prove it is, there are no courts that have any criminal jurisdiction, let alone civil jurisdiction. And where I come from, I have a judge from an earlier time saying, in effect, under some similar circumstances, that it's better that a murderer go unwhipped of justice than that a court without jurisdiction should exercise it. And I would have said the same thing 20 years ago in the O.J. case had I been smart enough to know it 20 years ago. I would have worked to set him free for the same reason. So it's not call it racist if you will, but there's nothing racist about this. It's just an ideal case. It's in the cradle of states' rights back there with John C. Calhoun and Robert Young Hayne. And those people should have a much keener understanding of these issues I'm raising than what we seem to have in California. That's what I'm attempting to do here. So we had a long, 2 hour and 45 minutes, a cappella, no breaks, no nothing. And they did their best to try to break me and get probable cause so I could be indicted in South Carolina and extradited. But they failed, and they know they failed, and the report they're going to send back there is going to have to indicate that. But I'm going to see if I can get a copy. I should have requested it, but I'll get one way or the other. But I sat there and gave them chapter and verse about the problems that we have with the system now. And they just sat there. They were dumbfounded. I don't know how much legal education they had, but I talked to them in basically everyday terms, like you see in my videos. And like you see there, I had no notes, no nothing. I just talked, right off the top of my head. And at the end, they just realized they had nowhere to go. And I think at the end, actually, we may have become on much more friendlier terms because they realized, as I pointed out during our discussions, we have a common enemy. The Wall Street banksters. Once we recognize that and take appropriate action against them, we'll get back the government that we're supposed to have. And if we do that, we're then going to get back common law courts that would have jurisdiction to try people like Dylann Roof. And if in the event that happens, I should state here, it's my personal opinion that there is nothing wrong with the death penalty under those circumstances. You did something like what happened here, that would seem to me to be a high priority penalty that could be imposed there. That said, it was unlike any experience I've ever had, and they could clearly see, by the way, also that, and they're going to tell him in South Carolina, you don't want this guy in your courtrooms. If you do that, he's going to talk to the jury 8 hours a cappella like what he did with us. And you can't stop him, and you can't refute him. So we're going to see what happens. By the way, with this, I did a follow-up letter, 6 pages. This is how I do things the next day, and sent off to the South Carolina authorities. If you want a copy of that, respond to my email. I'll get you one via email. You can read it and see what I said there and what I know I can prove and why they're afraid I might succeed in the Supreme Court in the case of Dylann Roof. It's a very interesting subject matter. We'll talk more about it later. Thank you.